Testing sound levels. Also, the music isn't high enough. Man, I have the volume too low on this. Hello. Stream again. That's a bit loud. Where is my music? I have set this far too low. Okay, 100%. Dum dum dum. Shit. What was I doing? One of the roles is for this quest. Ah. This area is looking for a black mage. Words cannot express how happily I have to fight with This is great. Give me the details. What's going on? Hello. Lest you wonder, Lord Artorial and I are leading the effort to deal with this blasphemy. With your capable self in the fold, I have no doubt that we will succeed. I wonder what this area's blasphemy is going to look like. Without further ado, I shall brief you on the situation. It was a handful of days after the first beast appeared in Radzatan. At the hop along the pillars, walking with an unsteady gait. All of a sudden he buckled over as if in pain, and before anyone knew what was happening, he had transformed into a terrible draconic beast. Oh, he's actually become a dragon. Seriously? Many who chanced to be present also turned, and regrettably the temple knights were forced to put them down. Is he trying to instigate a recreation of the war? Profane fanfare who has chosen to call... Profane fanfare. Chosen to call it, after the dragon man of Ishgardian myth. Since that day, the beast has often been sighted in the skies above Ishgard. It does not attack, only circles menacingly for a time, ere disappearing again. How rude. Alas, these brief visitations are oft enough to cause more people to turn, and for fear and panic to spread further. As part of our investigation, we have sought to identify the man who became the blasphemy, and thus far we have learned naught. What am I supposed to do? Have you asked his friends? We have, however, identified a common thread between those who have subsequently turned. All were people of fervent faith. People such as priests or inquisitors. Oh. The Religans people. When the truth of our nation's history was laid bare, the legitimacy of the church was called into question. As all churches inevitably end up. Many Ishgardians struggle to reconcile the revelations of their beliefs, and none more than the pious. Such men and women, we posited, would be more subscribable. Hello? 2 seconds. There we go. Focus. Last thing is need to be seen as my messy room. Thank you. Many Guardians struggle to reconcile the revelation of their beliefs. Yeah. The opposite would be more susceptible to despair and therefore the transformation. Find a way to stop it. Each guard has only just emerged from a 1,000-year war, and we cannot suffer another great tragedy, much less so soon. Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate timing on that. In order to attain a better understanding of the situation, we intend to speak with a member of the clergy. Sole individual who survived witnessing the blasphemy's birth without being turned. So the least religious person. Clem? Clem is his name? Clem? As in Warframe's Clem? He is a deacon at St. Servatus Cathedral. Come, let us... Clem! That's all I'm going to be thinking while we're chatting to this guy. Clem. So yes, I could just put the music on for... Oh, that's the main... Ignore that. That's the main quest. We're doing... Side quest number, whatever. Look at that mohawk. When you're fighting enemies, we call that a brohawk. Yeah. I like the new hat. Got like a scarf bandana. Oh my god, so many steps. This is too many for a Lalafell. Plus, adjust the camera. Plus. I don't know if that could teleport. Not an ally. Oh god. What am I doing? This church torn down yet? Yeah, that's not haunting music at all. How pleasant. Clem! Savior of Ishgard decides. You do me great honor. I am Clem. I serve as deacon here at St. Remandad's Cathedral. Oh, the names. There's any room on those at the Hoplo. When the incident occurred, we give thanks to the Fury for your merciful preservation. We now seek to prevent the blasphemy. Ha 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 ha. Microphone working? Okay. Odd. Wasn't showing up a second ago. Pray take a moment to rest, my friend. XP. Let's just adjust that slightly. Please, some more information. Your timing could not be better. Deacon Clem has finished speaking with the rescue clergyman and will be here shortly to share his findings. Lord Aymeric is on his way. Let us wait for them. Sure. Clem! Tell me more. Thank you for making the request on our behalf. Bum ba da 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 da. I'll make sure it's still streaming. It was no imposition in the least. As I said, I am glad to do all I can. Oh, come on, Glenn. It is our understanding that those you escorted back will close acquaintances of the Inquisitor turned. Like him, they too have been subject to harassment in certain quarters of the populace, is that correct? Well, you know, maybe they should get over it. And they are far from alone. Men of the cloth were once afforded respect and deference as servants of Halon, but now are openly reviled by the public. We were complicit in perpetrating terrible lies, this is true, but we were misled too. We too are victims, yet we are regarded with some... Well, leave the church. I don't get why you're sticking with the church. Problems. Saddens me to think that the world would lash out on us, their fellow man. I can imagine your plight. Would not presume to grasp your pain. Okay. Let's just, like... Come on. Get over it. Get over it, mate. Our faith has long been the foundation of our lives, and overnight that foundation has been crippled by fractures, beyond repair for some. To learn that we had been deceived, and that we were unwittingly deceived others in turn, devastating. We who had once been shepherds to men found ourselves lost lambs, bereft of surety and wanting of guidance. We have languished in darkness, all of us. So, who's leading the reformation of the church? And if there isn't someone doing that, then the church should fall apart. Well, share it with everyone else. The populace should know. That you did not, I believe, in due to your wavering faith in the church. In light of this, we would ask you to continue cooperation. Come on, this is silly. Of course, anything to help my brethren. Blah 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 blah. The progenitor of these troubles. Could he too have been a man with the cloth? Probably one of the larger deacons. Oh, just a commoner. We can determine what instinct drove the profane Fefner. We may learn who it was once. And this knowledge, I believe, will prove vital in their effort to stop it. Like, somebody must be reporting someone missing. Like... It'd be pretty silly if no one was reporting anyone missing. Would it not? Fairly silly. Should provide you with the comfort of those in need. Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead. Meanwhile, we must make it priority to identify the blasphemy. To that end, I would seek out more eyewitnesses. London is a busy place at any given time. More ordinary citizens are bound to have been present at that tragic event unfolded. Music, you're too loud! And epic. Make inquiries at the pillars, hop along, surrounding area. Cool, I got the XP. Nice. Wrong one, wrong one. No forgiveness, no deliverance. We're on a walkie-talkie quest. We go walkies and then we go talkies. Ba 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 ba. Do 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 do. Ba ba da ba ba do. Oh, where am I going? Da da da. We must climb. Da 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 da. Sociable citizen. We shall see how sociable. No, I don't see that dragon, nor would I have wished to, frightful as it sounds. To say I wasn't a Dravanian attack, but if not, then what was it? It was a upset dragon, like upset dragon man attack thing. Wonder if he's just trying to like embody the dragons and then start the fight again. Ow, my legs! Strad citizen. The last one will be a star citizen. I wasn't present for the incident at the Hoplon, but a young man poorly dressed for the cold. That is what I saw. I recall him well because of, aside from Saint Vanju, searching for him, he was a patient in the infirmary and by coincidence had the same name. Do. Takes ages to get up those steps. Spirited! Dragon that appeared at the Hoplon? Aye. Saw with my own eyes. One moment, an Elsian, and next a terrible beast. He was a heretic, I think? Oh. Poor lad. Getting labelled like that. It was a large depression. Poor brainwashed populace are upset that they're not brainwashed anymore. That's nice. Cup of tea. Cup of tea, be lovely. Ow, my legs. There you are, Sundrum. Did your search yield any fruit? Not up here. Wouldn't be any fruit up here. Among those of whom I spoke, one claims to have witnessed an individual fitting the description. A man walking in a stupor, who did not seem to feel the cold. A drunken. That's just a random drunken person. Wandering straight out of the infirmary would explain his state of attire. Or he was drunk. We're looking for a lad who came out of a pub. Yes, and I dare say I've found an blasphemy, but I do think that his name should be Vendryu. It is the name of that of former Heavensward commander Sir Vendryu the Rochnamandra, for whom the infirmary is named. Vendryu, however, retired from his station at a ripe old age some years ago. It does not like to have been him. In any case, we have a lead. I shall head to the infirmary at once. Pray wait for that, me and the broom. I'll go to the infirmary and then we shall check the I'm so off the middle of the camera. Da, da, da. Ooh. That is some progress. Hang on, what am I doing? Northern empty. No! Sorry. Every time I get distracted and push the button. Oh, boom. Where is me teleport crystal? And yep. Oh, I should be able to run along that. And I've run straight past it. Can I just go down one level, please? Yes, foundation. Foam. Foam. Pop. This place is still like crap. When are they ever going to rebuild it properly? Destination. This is Loverick, the aide who is charged with Vandadu. Have you found him? Please say you have. Okay, so someone has been missing and reported. If you could tell us more about him, maybe ask how he came to be in the infirmary. He was found in a patrol near the Centre Highlands. After being treated for his hurts, he was brought to us for convalescence? Being in the private years, he had been doing well, but then, okay. Convalescence, I don't know. Prime of years, by all accounts, he is no old man. It seems safe to assume that he is a vandal. Oh no, he's definitely a different person, as I told Lord Athoro. Again, his name is Vanu. He seems rather confused, and he had no means of confirming his identity. In his state, he shouldn't have wandered out about his own. Please, you must find him. He's probably dead, man. He's dead, and you need to get over it. Oh. He's gonna get depressed. Look at him. Oh, he's got a spinning halo. How can this be? Is there aught else you can tell us? Things he may have said or done while in your care? He took a lot of dragon juice. A lot of drocaine, it's called. He would often ramble. Though most of it was incoherent, he mentioned the Archbishop many times. He spoke to the Bishop too, Bishop Vertronox. I assume he was a pious man, given this. So very devout to the church. So just a very, very devotee to the church. Ba 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 ba. That's enough of the heater for a while. I'm gonna turn the old heater off every now and again. No. Kind of ruining the song, am I? Ba ba ba. Ba ba ba. No, I don't need the hunting board. Oh, wrong place, wrong place. I keep going to the. Our closure. Is this new? Oh, did I just not finish? Wow, did I just not finish the Dark Knight story piece? I don't think I did. That's really funny. I'm going to pick this up now, just in case I forget it. No, I should say I'm going to pick this up now because I'm going to forget it. Whatever, I'll come back. Black mage, gonna go do some story. Fum! Heading to the strategy room. I should be glad to show you in. Oh, I thought I was talking to him. Do. Can I get up on this? I don't see why I shouldn't be able to. I'll stand on the holy thingy and talk. The mystery remains, but we are one step closer to identifying the man who became Profane Fufner. Indeed, though he did not at first appear to be a member of the clergy, his words betray a fervent event. Fate. And now curious that we should speak only of the Archbishop, Bishop Vernon specifically. Perhaps he was personally acquainted with her grace. Probably. Should you have other business, pray feel free to attend to them in the meantime. Blah, 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 blah. The next mission! Deacon Clem has just sent word that Bishop Vertrox will see us now. I'm being ordered around. I don't like that. It's extremely short notice, but let's go anyway. Why am I experiencing yawniness at this time? Da da da. Teleport. They did such a very good job of making each of the states and the locations in the world different. I mean, this entire town feels completely different from every other town. Different style of architecture, different layout design, different approach to organization. Cannot yet have gone far though. Okay. Where's he gone? What business could be so important? Why the church? The business of the church. Did he go down, up, or through? He did not go through. Did he go down? He went down? He went down. I can fit through that. Don't do this to me again. But I want to break my legs off the ground. I mean, jump down for a shorter distance to travel. Artorial? Find his grace. I find. Yeah, okay. Yes, you had granted us an audience and then fecked off. Which is very, very rude. Rest assured, I was just about to return to the cathedral. Yeah, sounds like made up gibberish. No, I cannot say, with the exception of the former Archimandrite. I am sure I know no one by that name. The former who? Service over which he presided. Godly soul that he is, full glad am I that his faith was of comfort to him in sickness, and I pray to Hanlon that he will soon find good health. Well, I hope not. He's fucking a monster. Need to get rid of this thing. Oh, you are lying. They all lie. They lie. And then I use my vision to see the past, and they get fooked. Oh, crap. We've completed the preparations as per your instructions, but are you certain this will work? Are you... Wow. Summon forth King Thoradin and his knights 12, and by his blessing, Ishgard should be restored to its former glory. Fantastic! So it was him. It was, him. Well, I've got to kill him now, so... Ha! That does solve a mystery from... Who the hell helped this part? scarcely changed from before. Oh, he fell down. How'd you get the soul back? It's very strange. No, this isn't right. Oh, so okay. This is recently, is it? Yeah, very clever. Except not. I was granted a vision in the past. Murdered this guy. Grace, you should know full well that summoning is strictly forbidden. You will accompany to the congregation and explain yourself. Nah, he's gonna be like, no, peace out. Conducted my affairs in accordance with the scriptures and taught others to do likewise. Yes, and it was a pile of lies. And it's just as I deny an Ishgard where the church is. Yeah, not in church. Blah blah blah. Misery from attachment. Damn. Bro had his limit break. Yep, forced again. Problem's gone though. Yeah, Clem's gonna be a problem. Pray and go and get some rest. Just need to put a figurehead in charge of the church, like Clem, who is like, we should revitalize the church. We should bring it into the modern day. Actually, I think that's kind of funny because like this is dealing with fixing the church in the aftermath. Natural story development in a story. It's crazy. It'll never be tried again. It'll never be tried. When has a game ever tried something as crazy as story points that make sense? Ba ba ba. Wow, these quests are long. And there's 5 of them. Yes. I should like to go upstairs, please. Thank you. Boom! 360 flip. Ba, 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 ba. To think that even a member of the Schnod would come to despair and turn. Yeah, it's almost like the whole institution has been destroyed. That's not a bad thing. Well, you could recount in full what you witnessed in your vision. Yet that which manifested was not like the being you fought, but rather just retained the form of a man, one driven by the desire to protect the Archbishop. We may safely assume the bishop did not have sufficient ether. Bereft of Nidhogg's eye, and the sword of Ascillion no longer had such power. Nor does that of the waning triad remain to be witnessed. To be harnessed. Thanks to your intervention. Yep. The vessel, though imperfect, arose as a champion of the Archbishop. Yet how did it come to be in the Central Highlands? It wandered? Yeah, it's kind of clear. Yeah, considering what we know of the clone and Andreo, it would seem a likely possibility. Wherever the truth may be, it will not elude us forever. But first I must lay some groundwork for the next phase of our investigation. God's permitting, I will have news to share ere long, so pray look at us upon us when you can. Sure. We're on to the 88th one now. 3 more to go, I think. It's a long old episode. He has the identity of the blasphemy in his mind. Well, we just need a couple dragons to swoop around and find out where it is. Dispatched Temple Knights to find the clergyman who aided the bishop's attempted summoning. Regrettably, when confronted, it turned and had to be put down. Crap, every time. Maintaining the assumption that they are, perhaps we could instead consider any of who may have found his way to quarters. Hang on! Is this just a random dude that was dead, or is it the guy that the church, Is it the guy that the hospital is actually named after? He was abandoned in Annesley. What did he do afterwards? Jump off the side. If he is still there, then we are dealing with a different individual. Perfectly makes sense. It's not a whole continent, but okay. Let's begin by making inquiries there. Oh, so I'm not going to Ellerslie. I like reasons to travel there. It's a cool location. There should be more reasons to go back there. What am I doing? Count Dragonhead. Is he expecting me to check if people have shown up from? Am I going to be questioning people if there was an individual down here? Like, Alisley is northbound, not here. Hello, I think I know you from somewhere. Ancient man who found his way into the wilds. Yes, I know the one. I was with the patrol that chanced upon him north of here at Province Point. Unconscious in a bad way, and he hurriedly bore him back to the camp. After doing what we could for him, we sent him to the city. Okay. They should be exercising outside. Nani? Now, if it isn't Lord. First, dear friend, something you require. Ah, yes, the mystery man. I was among those tending to him. He was not attired for the snow, much less a snowstorm, in which he'd been caught and suffered from frostbite. But people were extremely wait. When people are extremely cold, they mistakenly feel that they are warm and disrobed. That might explain his state of undress. Yeah, but how did he get down from Allah's Lake? Like, the only way would be if he jumped. And it's a bit of a distance. Wasn't involved myself, but I can tell you much about the fellow. Caught a sight of an airship flying dangerously low, was disappeared into the brewing snowstorm, looking none too steady. He somehow took an airship down here. Wouldn't really be possible. Have to. Here are the various notes I have taken. Mysterious man found collapsed an airship. After an airship was seen flying low, yes, the accounts are here consistent with yours. I found him curious about the fate of the unknown airship. To that end, I have arranged a pair of black chocobos for us to have effectively scour the area. We shall continue our search to the province point, where Evangelist said he must have been found. Okay. Let us be off. Sure, let's go chocoboing. Blap, 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 blap. Fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle. Do. Province Point. Flap, 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 flap. Oh, northeast. It would be funny if they just added an airship somewhere. Just conveniently. Are we going through the cave system? Oh, sound effects. Oh, that's not a proper airship. Oh, no, it is a proper airship. Found it. What the hell is it doing next to the airship? That's so weird. Well, did he get it back here and then fell into despair once he realized the Archbishop was dead? That must be the thing. Must protect his eminence. Must protect his eminence. Yeah, that's what happened. Didn't know what happened to the Archbishop. Came back. Was told the Archbishop was gone. Fell into a despair because the Archbishop was gone. Simple as. Hail and be praised. He's just going to go on about the Archbishop. Name? Saffron? No, Chardbert. Oh, those were the different knights. He doesn't know which one he is. Is there none that will be accepted? No. He's not alright. He's in a hospital. What kind of a question is that? That's the same as our infirmary. I dare say fate has guided you to us. Can you tell me about yourself? Anything else you can remember? Anything at all? Must save, dude. Must magistrate. Proud son of House, nay, devout servant of Hanlon, who lives for battle. Pleasure in inflicting pain, the attentions of maidens. To fight beside me with a brother in arms. Yeah, multiple personality problem. But his eminence raised me up, granted me a place aside. Just a mess. I am a knight of the Heavens Ward. Sworn to protect and serve the Archbishop. Fantastic. Oh, you're a knight, forgive me if I sounded rude. But I had no idea. While I realize your memories may be a bit muddled, I'm afraid I must inform you that the Heavens Ward has not been seen in quite some time and are presumed dead. And the Archbishop, well, he is most certainly no longer of this world. Yeah, Debresh, there you go. There you go. And the important thing is that you're safe now. You literally gave him the worst possible news. You're terrible. Where's he going? You don't give a patient recovering terrible news. Earth-shatteringly terrible news. Oh god. What's happening? I must find him, yeah. You're gonna... And that's why you wandered out of the infirmary and into what I assume is the burial ground area of the church. And then you lost your mind. Absolutely lost it. Sundren. Oh, I was out of it for a while. Oh, he's not even flying properly. He's like twisted. Heading into town. Jeez, could have alerted me. Yes, the vision. Look at that mohawk. Oh, I'm going to be attacked by wolves, apparently. Did I not hear wolves? Wolves! What are the powers of Black Chocobo, by the way? Don't they like... Okay, distinct powers and stuff, but like, do they have anything to do with like ice? Thought maybe they had like frost resist, and that's why you find a lot of them up here. Kind of odd. Then again, the Chocobo Forest is up here. Somewhere. This one! That's the one we're looking for. You left me here, and you went into town, and I didn't. How rude. How very rude. Whoops. Oh wow, lots of new player dudes. No, I don't need the entrance. Get me into the actual city, please. I think that's what it... Yeah, okay. Foundation. Sorry, that is not what I selected. Seriously need to work on the entryway to the city is still destroyed. Remembering Ishgard. I don't remember that particular one. Is that? Oh no, you're here somewhere? No. The Forgotten Knight. It's like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. From Rilbert. To the strategy room. We're gonna do one more quest and we stuck before level 90. We just suck. Pray your search was more productive than my own. Not but the discarded Hessian remained. I'm afraid, wait. Oh, the sword. Why would he abandon the sword? This is just dumb. Found the vessel abandoned at Az's Lane and tried to use it. Who abandons a 1 million gil vehicle? Who just abandons an airship? Maybe it was damaged, that's why he was flying it badly. I don't know. Archbishop airship was not the only thing we found. Profane Fafnir was there too. Creature chose to flee, but not before Sundren had a vision of his past. Tell us what was so unsettling. Okay, and then I go... as my character normally does when reciting anything. None of the gone are one and the same, and in his despair he turned into a blasphemy. Yet the confusion he exhibited when asked his name, as if he wasn't sure of his own identity. Yeah, he's not. Voice within was clearly in agreement when facing Sundren, mere sight of whom drove the blasphemy to flee. So he recognizes me. Heavensward took up arms against us and Ishgard. By the hand were we robbed of one of our finest knights and a dear friend. I would not wish such a terrible fate upon him. Many have become lost and are all too vulnerable to despair. They don't need to forget, but they need to move forward. I'll not endorse using the church as a form of comfort. There are other ways to seek comfort. Wow, Jesus, that. Just suddenly action. Brr. The next house session I shall call for an ecumenical. Ooh, an ecumenical council to be held. I forgot the definition of that word. It's an ecumenical matter. Of, related to, or representing the whole body of the church. My lord, the gathering is reserved for. You intend for the church to codify a new doctrine? We have refrained from interfering in church affairs, but if the church is to remain a part of Ishgardian society and continue serving the people, it must reconsider its role and formally address recent revelations. I shall call for this council not as the Lord Speaker, but as a humble adherent to the faith. That is a step forward. Lacking the courage to set them in motion, I now have it thanks to you. Good. Tend to the necessary preparations at once. Among other things, we must reach out to those in the clergy who are amenable to reform and ask for patience in the meantime. Church is languishing and not taking action, then you force it into action. 89! What's coconut cod chowder? Why is that part of the thing? What does the church stand for? Does it stand for good food? Pleased to say that the Ecumenical Council is going to be held. In case you are unaware, the Council is the highest assembly of the Ishgardian Orthodox Church. Deliberate and decide on the future. The previous one was held no less than 8 years ago, and 4 archbishops have since come and gone. As such, most Ishgardians know little, save that which are read in the historical records. Traditionally, the archbishop and managers of the synod would meet behind closed doors. In light of Bishop Veterinok's fate, however, in times the doors will be thrown open to the public. Yes, it should be open to the public. And you shouldn't have a single individual as the head of the church, but a few. All men and women of the faith may have a hand in shaping the mission and the teachings of the church. It is my hope that you will also join in this endeavour. I want to express our gratitude for the efforts of facilitating the council. We appreciate the difficulties in your position. I shall do all within my power to see that the church may serve the people once more. Stopped outside for a moment to say that he wished to gather his thoughts ahead of the council, and the hour draws nigh, however. I want to be able to tell the church a thing or two. In the meantime, I ask you to floor us. Wrong one. Always the wrong one. I'm gonna need to be level 90 to do the next thing of this. Ba ba ba. Don't want to waste any XP. I have a couple of main quest missions ahead of me that could boost me up to level 90, I believe, but I just don't want to waste any XP. Wherever could he be inside the giant orange circle? Bum bum ba da bum bum ba. Is it time already? Never a problem. I often come and fetch people. It's a fetch quest. The path I've chosen to walk on those who have been left behind are the consequence of my actions. Those who died fighting, those burdened with boundless grief. Groundless beef? Those deprived of position and purpose. Like any nation, Ishgard is made up of desperate souls with desperate beliefs. Without an enemy to unite them, we call for differences we once set aside out of necessity and find amongst our old friends new ideological foes. Not foes you can discuss, debate. It is far more difficult to secure them than I ever imagined for our nation to move forward as well. We should begin making our way to the council. Shall we continue our conversation while we walk? If it is agreeable, I would like to look at Four Temps Manor. Why? It is not a... Feels like another age that you and I were no more than foreign wards at House Front. And in actual fact, it may be considered so. For your coming set in motion a chain of events that brought an end to the Dragonsword War, ushering in a new age of harmony, which apparently is not lasting very long, and I need to fix again. Shall we continue on to the Architect? To the where? Okay. Bum, ba, bum, ba, 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 ba. King Thordan and his knights 12, the murderers of Ratatskri? How do you pronounce it? Ratatsoskra. Since the truth of their ancient crime came to light, many have demanded that these images be torn down. Yet though what our founding fathers did was wrong, neither is it right to simply expunge them and their deeds from history. To do so would be to deny our people's part in what followed for 1,000 years. We have the chance to forge a new future, but we, as a nation, must decide how to confront our past. You don't leave statues up. I was lost in thought yet again. Let us join Deacon and climb in the vault. Here's the thing. And this is these statues are like right in front of the large main building. When you discover that a person the entire reason that the statues are there, they're not there for historical reasons. They're there to remember the greatness of the individual, and if it turns out that the individual wasn't so great and had terrible, terrible war crimes and instigated the beginning of a war out of greed, then you take the statue down. And historians will keep the documents and the lessons and the records of the time, and if you have a proper education system, that will teach people the past. But you don't leave the statues up, because the statues aren't there as historical records. The statues are there to celebrate the individual. It's not rewriting or, getting rid of history. Just getting rid of celebrating someone who turned out to be a lie. There you are, my friends. The council is about to convene you. Let's just take our place in the audience hall. Besides, you should never put up statues of people. Because people made into heroes never live up to their... Never lived up to their... How would you say that? It's the never meet your heroes thing. They'll never measure up. Esteemed members of the clergy and honoured adherents of the faith, I thank you all for your attendance. We're going to plant a bomb under the table. Is that right? We're going to take the church out once and for all. In recent days, our nation has been racked by a series of tragedies. Those among us who do Halalon's work have been transformed into abominations. This dreadful phenomenon has been brought to you by the final days, and it is upon our despair and anguish that it feeds. Thus, if we are to prevent further tragedy, we must strive to ensure that all Ishgardians, clergymen, citizens alike, abide with peace and love for one another in their hearts. So we're going to write a new Bible. Brilliant. To that end, I have called this ecumenical council, the first in a generation, that we might together determine a path forward for the church and our society as a whole. Since antiquity, the Ishgardian Orthodox Church served the people in two respects: as the Fury's spear to strike at the heart of draconic dragonkind, and as the Fury's shield to safeguard the soul of men. Well, you're not at war anymore. Now that we are at peace with the Dravanians, the Church need no longer serve as the spear, and so we must now reconsider how we might better serve as a shield for our brethren. The hierarchy must be reformed, and for that we need accountability. Ah! Now, that's a positive statement. Because previously you had a hierarchy that gave lots of power to a single individual, caused problems. The upper echelon must be stripped of rank at a minimum, and investigations conducted, trials held, if the evidence is sufficiently damning, and then we may turn our attention to their doctrine of lies. Who's going to respond to that? As our predecessors did before us, we of the Synod have ever sought to interpret the scriptures to the best of our ability, and henceforth conveyed Helen's will to the people. Such fervent pursuit of retribution at the expense of doctrine should come all at the expense of our faith. No. No, it wouldn't. And your interpretation is going to change with the time anyway. Hence, the book is the scripture itself is pointless. We can have a fight. Have we won the war to lose our souls, O Hanlon? Are we outside your grace? And she's gonna go mental. They're all gonna turn, and I'm gonna have to slaughter all the. This bodes ill. At this rate, someone might turn. Then speak. Since the war's end, the Church and the faithful have stood at a crossroads, unable to take the next step. His Grace, Bishop Vartanox, may he walk in Hanlon's halls, was one such soul, and in his longing for simpler times he resorted to using forbidden magics. He succumbed to despair. In our minds we renounce the lies upon which our nation was built, but in our hearts we yearn for the righteousness, misguided though it was, that gave us comfort and purpose for so long. So let us not forget who we were. Righteous. People that strove for righteousness. Let us confront the mistakes of the past and learn from them, that we do not repeat the mistakes of our forefathers. As fervently as we believe in our sacred duty, we struggle to accept the Church's deception and embrace change. The legacy of Thordan weighs heavy, and there is a temptation to simply cast it aside like a mantle that suits us no longer. Yet that would dishonor the sacrifice of those who went before, countless souls who served the people with purest intent. And so heavy though it may be, let us together bear the burden that as we set forth anew. Yeah. Don't throw the book out. Take the good lessons from it and get rid of the bad. And old and the lies. Our friend Sundren risked life and limb to reveal the truth to us. The truth that our legends and our scriptures were tainted by betrayal, but not wholly corrupted. Smile. I'm all grinny. Though the great walls and towering spires of our city may have been built with murder and deception, they rest upon a foundation immutable and true. Our devotion to Hanlon. Halon. I keep saying that wrong. Whom we have worshipped since before our forefathers settled these lands. The Church is a font of practical wisdom, and its teachings guide us in our daily lives. These things should define our faith no less than lives. We can acknowledge our sins without renouncing our religion. And without rejecting who we are. Comprehensive review of scripture as well as historical literature will be necessary. Revision, as appropriate, must be made to ensure that the truth of our past is preserved for future generations. With your peerless knowledge of church doctrine, I dare say none is better suited than leading the effort than you. I can't remember who that is. I also expect that many eyes will be required to pore over all the tomes, and I know many idle men and women of faith who would jump at the chance to do Hanlon's work. Hallonon! Once more! Yes, keep them all busy. Dum dum da. Dum da. I wanted to leap up on the table and make all those points. Get rid of that chair. Or leave it there, but leave it empty. Clam! With this, the church and the people have taken their step forward to a brighter future. Oh, let me go into the big debatable debate. I wanted to rewrite the scripture myself. Pity it doesn't go into that depth. Your words helped everyone to find common ground. I know not how to thank you. Much credit so much as Sundren in the face of our great hardship. Never did he hesitate to press on, and our people have not forgotten this. Indeed, we do. Well do I remember the day you flew into Ishgard upon a dragon's back. In making possible the impossible, you inspired us. That's all I do. In you we glimpsed the fury, a vision of courage in the face of uncertainty. Looking to your example, we shall endeavour to bring about change in the church for the future of all Ishgardians. And people outside of Ishgard, maybe don't be so isolated. There will of course still be those souls who struggle to rise above the mire and despair, but my fellows and I shall take their hand in faith and love. That'll help. What is fate if not salvation? It's another lie, though. You offer salvation, but you also push the idea that people need to be saved. When they don't. But ere I forget, I have tracked down that which you requested. Some repairs will be necessary. That will be seen with most hate. Wait, what? What did you find? Finding a certain item, you see a secret weapon, one might say, given that we know about Profane Fufner. I suspect it will be of great use in our hunt. Once the repairs are complete, you should be ready to strike. Something to fight a dragon, or the sword, or something else that the church used. The risk of more clergymen turning is greatly diminished. We may now focus entirely on the blasphemy, which I am not high enough level to do the mission for. For his torment. Rest while you can, Sundren, for I dare say the coming battle will demand the best of us. Do. Da. I totally need to level. Damn. Oh no! Oh, these are good too. I want them. How much XP do I need? Wow, 6 million. 6,400,000. Not going to be able to do that anytime soon. Actually, I will. Suppose I can grind it out in the Dome and Enclave. But I think I'm going to leave the streaming here for tonight. Just a short stream. Should be able to do more next week. But I have a few things to get done today, so take care. Thanks for tuning in. Check out GamEir, any of the reviews done online. We've got a few more for Christmas. Game of the Year, people's choices for Game of the Year, so on. And yeah, Final Fantasy Souls, always great. So tune in next week. Have a good evening.